Good morning, everybody. Good morning and welcome. Welcome to class number 6, the Relationship Satisfaction Series. This is Thomas, and let's see, I think I better go ahead and put you on mute, huh?
You are now muted.
Okay, very, very good. So for this morning, we're going to bring together all of the communication skills that we've gone through to date, and we're adding on number 4, which is going to be a really cool, simple one because it is called Meta-Talk. And Meta-Talk simply means to talk about talking. So it is talking about how you communicate. It's the ability to be with your communication partner and to discuss how do we communicate. You know, one of the things that's always said regarding relationships is that communication is so important, right? And yet it is the toughest thing for people to actually get their hands around, because when they say communication is important, what they're really saying is how you listen to me is important. They don't really regard communication as the two-way street it is. They don't regard communication as listening and speaking. They don't regard communication as verbal and nonverbal. So all the work that we're doing is to allow you to be more yourself more of the time, because what we've discovered is the more yourself, that is true self you are, the better communicator you are, the better thinker you are, the better problem solver you are. It just seems that everything works a little better. So everything we're doing is in service of waking up, being awake, awakening. And what I mean by that is a shift in your awareness, a shift in awareness when you taste reality outside the limitations of our minds. Now, when you step outside of your mind, as all of us have, then you know yourself to be unlimited. You know yourself to be much bigger than your body, your physical body, much bigger than your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, and your circumstances. You start to notice that that's not who you are, though most human beings live in a place of complete immersion in and have an identification with our thoughts, feelings, and physical bodies, as though that is who we are. So this waking up, this awakening that you and I are on a journey of, allows us to move beyond our limited beliefs and assumptions about reality. It allows you to move beyond your limited beliefs and assumptions about our life based on past experiences and memories. And it allows you and I to fully experience what's actually happening right this moment. So last class, we got into number 3 skill, which is digging down. And I know that a number of you didn't have a partner to practice with, or didn't know how to practice, whatever it was about digging down, that it occurred a little more complicated than it is. So today, we're going to spend a little time doing some interactions to dig down so you get a better sense of it. One of the things I realized after the fact is, in distinguishing digging down with you, I made it so much about the other person in your communicating versus digging down for you. So we're going to get into that a little bit later. Don't get stuck on that. First, what I'd really like to do is to check in with you regarding the assignment from last week. And the assignment was to practice the slow down exercise. It was to practice the awareness meditation. And it was to practice digging down. So before I open the lines, I'd like for us to take this opportunity to do and go into the awareness meditation. I'm going to lead you through it. We are going to do approximately 7 to 8 minutes. We're not going to spend 20 minutes of our call doing it, but I encourage you on a daily basis to give it 20 minutes. Because the beauty of this particular meditation is that as the boundaries of the mind disappear, you start to really experience, who the heck is this? Who am I? Who is aware? Who's experiencing this moment? And not like a trick question. I was so happy on Thursday night, the monthly call, Jean was on, and she said, every time you say that, who is this and who's here in this moment, it sounds like a trick question. And I get it. I get it. It's not a trick question, but I can get how the mind will go there. So if you would, please sit quietly, put yourself in a space, if you're able, where you can just relax for a moment with me, with your eyes closed. And if you would, please just observe your breathing. Don't try to change it or do anything with it. Just breathe. The beauty of the breath is that breath is only happening now. So it's a great vehicle to use to bring full awareness to the present moment. As you breathe a little deeper, but gently, I'd like for you to breathe into the center of your chest. Breathe into your heart space. And if you're able, imagine that the heart is breathing. And as you're observing your breath, notice that thoughts are arising. And just let them arise and let them move through. In fact, on your next in-breath, breathe those thoughts through the window of the heart. In fact, imagine a small flame in the middle of your heart, and every breath is fanning the flame. And as you breathe those thoughts through the flame, imagine that they've become purified and sent into the abyss like a pebble in an infinitely deep well. And on your out breath, simply breathe out purity and your approval, because you are superior to your thoughts. And now you might start to notice that there are sensations or physical feelings that are starting to arise. Start to notice any tension, discomfort, relaxation, anything that you can sense in the body. Just relax into the space. Allow yourself to be here now. Breathe gently but deeply into your heart space. And on the in-breath, breathe in all the feelings and sensations of the body. Breathe those through the window of the heart. Breathe those through the purification of the flame. Just breathe them into an emptiness, like a wave coming onto the shore and then boom, going right back out into the ocean. And as we're going through this meditation, you can hear the sound of my voice. The sound of my voice is happening right now. And there are other sounds happening right now. Bring your awareness to hearing sounds. Gently open your eyes and notice color, movement, and shape. Seeing is happening. And close your eyes again and now begin to ask yourself the following questions. Who is experiencing this moment? Who is aware of the breath? Who or what is aware of the thoughts arising? Who or what is aware of these physical sensations? or what is aware? What is the I of the I am? Who is that I? Who is that me? Who or what is here? Who am I? Who or what is present? What is this awareness? And who or what is experiencing this very moment?
You are now unmuted.
Very nice. Now, if you would, just bring yourself back. Open your eyes. And I'd like to just hear from anybody concerning any of the assignments you've done over the week, anything that may have been coming up for you since we started this work. It could be anything from awareness, clear thinking, to digging down. Very interested in hearing anything connected to the practices. So just say your first name and I'll call on you. Make sure your phone's muted if you're not talking. Susan, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Oh, I just love going through that meditation with you. And meditation is something I have learned from a long time ago, and just have only the last year I've been doing it every day. So
good for you. Excellent.
The best time of the day. Yeah, but this was really special just now, doing it with you. What came up for me was something that never came up before in my practice. Usually I do have a spiritual experience when I do that meditation.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I feel very connected to my dad, who passed away over 10 years ago, but I was very, very close. And I sometimes feel like he looks down on me, and it's just like when things go so well, it's really out of my hands. It's really, he's just like still giving me gifts, even though he's gone. And also my higher power. But just now in this meditation, I'm sitting with my husband, and we're listening on separate phones. And this time it wasn't just my dad I was connected to. I felt connected to David's mother. And I was just very present to telling her how I'm watching her baby, you know, like I don't know, it's just incredible.
Very good. That's awesome.
And I did get to talk to her before she passed away, although, you know, she was in Israel and didn't speak English that well, but I still have like a visual and I've heard her voice, so I just felt that. Nice. And then the other practice, David and I did the homework last night on the slowing down, and
yes.
So, you know, that was kind of incredible, like taking a sip of a drink and 1/4 being like making it be 1/4, 3/4 of it, no, 1/4 in time, right?
Yeah.
So like slowing it down, and what I was aware of doing that exercise was like just being so aware, you know, like of something that drips or just like everything. I was very present. I was much more present because like, to have to concentrate just on that one action when there's a million actions usually going on at once.
Yeah, I know for myself on the slow down practice, in the beginning, I had to deal with my fast and furious part.
Yeah.
My fast and furious part didn't like slowing down. In fact, that part of me, which was a dominant part of me, was always interested in how I could move just a little bit faster, get a little bit more done, and multitask just a little better.
Yeah.
And the slow down exercises brought me to a place where one at a time, one thing at a time. It's like that. So very good. Thank you so much for sharing, Susan. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and I'm going to be
else?
listening very carefully about the digging down because I feel like I'm behind in your class because I don't quite get that. So, and David was away last week.
I don't think anybody really got digging down at the level of the simplicity it can be. So you'll have it today.
Okay, great. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Susan. Thank you. Somebody else.
Jean.
Jean. Good morning, Jean.
Good morning. Well, I really love doing that meditation with you. It was really wonderful to kind of have it guided. It was wonderful. You know, what comes up for me is the three things that kind of came up for me because I've been really looking at it since the phone call in particular.
Clearer than the other. Okay, guys, you need to mute your phones. If you're not talking to me, mute your phones. Go ahead, Jean. There you go.
Yeah, it's amazingly loud.
I know.
Sounds like somebody's vacuuming. Sounds like somebody's vacuuming.
That's what it sounds like.
Well, you know, one of the first things that, you know, who is listening, who is, you know, seeing all of that. I guess the first piece that came up was my soul, like my soul. And then the next part that came up was personality. And then what I got down to, it's really my brain. Like my brain is kind of, you know, in charge of my thoughts and decisions that I've made in my whole life and feeling the sensations of my body and deciphering what is actually going on. So anyway, that's kind of what I came up with so far.
Yeah. Very
with
good.
that. And you know, and the slowing. Go ahead.
And then the question I would ask you to go from there is, who or what is experiencing my brain? Who or what is governing that? Just, you know, not to get the right answer, you understand, because there's no right answer, but to make yourself dig it down even more. But go ahead with the other.
Well, you know, the slow down exercise, I just love it. I love doing it.
Me too.
Trying different things like picking up a pen, you know, and even right in this moment, I'm like looking at the pen and turning it in my hand and just feeling all the muscles, you know, and aware of all the different feelings and sensations. It really, you know, and the one that was even more remarkable is eating, like taking a bite and slowing down like the chewing process and feeling like as much as I can all the different muscles that are the tongue, what the tongue is doing. It's like really quite amazing. You know, the simplest thing that I do it, you know, we do it every day, several times a day, and even while I'm talking, I'm like, wow, my vocal cords and my tongue and my mouth and my teeth and my head, you know, everything doing stuff to make sound come out a certain way. My lips.
Beautiful.
It really is extremely fascinating, and it does like get me more present. I don't think about anything else.
Awesome.
You know, I'm not.
Awesome.
Yeah, everything else is like gone away.
You're on track. That's exactly the intention of the slow down exercise. For me, that exercise has probably been one of the biggest breakthroughs that I can remember ever having. And that is that I am more conscious at slowing down on a regular basis. Like it's actually become a bit of a habit where you'll notice that I don't talk as fast. You know, if we compare anything to the past, which a lot about being present is to give up comparing. You know, we do a lot of comparing ourselves and comparing this moment to another. But for this conversation, I'm going to do the comparison because you know me. And the fast and furious part has always been the leader part in my identity. And since I've been practicing the slow down exercise, I have noticed that I move slower. I have a little more confidence in the things and the action I'm taking, and there's more thought behind it. I don't know. For me, it's been a huge breakthrough, and I've loved it, so I'm glad you love it too.
Yeah, thank you.
And thank you for sharing, Jean. Really appreciate you. I appreciate what you bring to every call and to every class. Like, it really matters to me that you know, especially during this season, how awesome it is to have you around me. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Tom.
Anybody else?
Susan.
Susan!
Okay.
Susie! Okay.
Yeah, this is Susan Harden.
Oh, Harden! Hi, Susan. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, this one's a hard one to say, and it's about the meditation and who is listening, who is seeing that question.
Yes.
And what that brings to me is the use of being a religious instruction of being told that God is everything, God is everywhere, there is nothing that is not God, and then they turn around and say, who do you think you are? God? Okay.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, here it is. Yes, that's who I think I am. I'm part of God. God is everywhere, and God is everything. Then that is what I am. So,
now, what does that provide for you when you get to that place during the meditation? What does that provide for you?
It expands me, but it also makes me disappear.
Yes, very good. Very, very good. Okay, excellent. Thank you for that. It's a really good place for me to segue. Is there anything else for you, Susan?
Well, just that, when you say communication partner, who are you referring to?
Anybody that you're in communication with. So in this moment, I'm your communication partner.
Oh, I see.
So whenever I say communication partner, I'm using the term because you and I, throughout our life, have many different communication partners.
Okay. Now, I was referring to digging down exercise.
Yes, in the digging down exercise, I had asked people to have whoever you were working with in the classroom.
Okay.
I had asked you to have 2 or 3 appointments set with them to practice digging down.
Okay.
And you may or may not have gotten that done, and it may or may not have been very clear. So my intention today is that digging down not only becomes clear, but it becomes easy and accessible for everybody on the call, such that it makes a huge difference in what you're up to. Instead of just one more thing to learn, it really is difference making. So that's my intention today, Susan, and I think that I'll fulfill on that.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
You are now muted.
Okay, so now everybody's muted, and it was a perfect segue because, Susan just shared that when we get into the questions of who am I, who is aware, the who question, she gets very present to her religious direction that everything is God. And I'm God, and God is everything and everywhere. this conversation that I'm about to have isn't to create any religious connection, but it was a nice segue because today quantum physicists have come up with identifying what's called the God particle. So, there's new theories and paradigms in science like string theory that really and truly sound more like the thoughts of philosophers and poets from way back in time. But the universe is now recognized as a living entity, an entity of a lot of intelligence, immeasurable intelligence, in fact, in size and power. We could call this energy, this vast energy field, we could call it God. We could more generically just call it the universal energy field. But I want you to consider that it's vast and it's a cosmic sea of endless possibilities and infinite wisdom. Deepak Chopra refers to it as the unlimited field of potentiality. It's the source of everything, extending infinitely beyond our measure, that is human measure. In this universal field, the source of all is the ultimate living being, bringing forth and staying connected to every other living thing. So at the highest frequency of vibration, each form of life is interconnected as particles. And those particles dance and spin apart. At the lowest frequency, we appear separate in the mass of our physical bodies. So consider this energy field connects us all. If we are all one, if there is no separation at one level of our existence, then this meditation and the various practices that I will give you and the various meditations I'll give you so that you don't get bored with one access will give you at the highest level the experience of no separation. That's empowering. Now, let's be very clear. You wouldn't be able to live your daily physical life on this planet in that space all the time. So you and I are looking, it's like music. When you play music, what's most important, the note or the space between the note? See, both are important. So if we use that as a comparison, we could say that our physical expression, our physical reality, the experience of separation is the note. The experience or the reality of no separation is the space between the notes. So both are critically important. So this conversation and this training is never about you and I disappearing into the connected, no separation, etc., but instead to have glimpses of that experience and to have that knowing in the background of our physical separated experience. Because for you and I, our heart, our intuition tells us that there is a natural way of living life, a more natural way than getting stuck in our thinking, in getting stuck in our emotions and all the experiences that are going on throughout the day. Because we are participating in this real world, but our attention gets more wrapped up with our thoughts and ideas and memories and projections about our experience than actually experiencing the experience. So the game here, and awakening, as I refer to it, is a willingness to constantly show up again and again fresh in this moment with what is right here, right now, in our immediate environment. It's a willingness to shift more into what's here, what's real, and to wake up from the trance that drags us into story, evaluation, and judgment. So let's now move into digging down. And I'm going to start off with, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the line, and just in case there's any already conversations for digging down, like you have practiced and you saw some things, I'd like to go from that direction than just feeding you a bunch of stuff. So let's see if there's anybody.
You are now unmuted.
That might want to say something regarding digging down. So just say your first name and I'll call on you to help get this conversation rolling. Okay. So would that be because there's a lack of understanding? So let me know that. Just somebody, just say your name
Jean.
and let me interact with you. Hi, Jean.
Hi.
So with
Yeah, for me, with digging down, I think I just left confused, and so I didn't do anything.
Got it. Very good. Anybody else in that space?
Yes, this is Jeannie.
Yes. Yeah, okay. Okay, very good. Got it. So let me give you in simplest form. Now, the lines are currently unmuted, and it seems quiet enough, so I'm going to leave it unmuted so we can interact a little better until such time it doesn't work, and then I'll mute it again. So let's try it on this way. Let's say digging down is nothing more and nothing less than going from I am not responsible for my experience, my environment, and my personal needs being met, all the way down to, so that would be level one. Level one says, Jeannie, you're responsible for my happiness, let's say. So let's say you and I are married. And how I am in my relationship is that you are responsible for my happiness. So you'd say, so Thomas, what do you need? I need you to make me happy. That would be level one. Because why? I'm holding you responsible for what I need. If we dig down, so imagine digging down just says, I need to be more responsible. And listen, the word dig is important because for many people who've had no training at all, now we have all had some training, so digging down isn't quite as tough. But for people who've had no training at all, it's a far stretch to go from being a victim of circumstance down to being 100% responsible for everything. So level one is I'm holding you responsible. Level two, I can see where I'm responsible for some and you're responsible for some. So you're my wife. I need you to make me happy. That's level one. I start to dig down and I say, okay, I can see that not only do I need her to make me happy, but there are things I need to take care of to make me happy. So now I'm at level two. Follow so far? So there's a little more power in my life at level two than there is at level one. Level one, I have no power. I'm a complete victim. Does that communicate?
Yes.
Yes.
A little bit? Okay.
Yeah.
And then if I dig down further to level three says I'm 100% responsible. Oh, boy. So how am I going to now distinguish that? Now, remember, I'm digging down. So I'm over here in my own world, digging down because it's important to me to have full power, freedom, self-expression in my own life. And I start to see, wait a minute, a primary need for me is enjoying myself and my life enough. And that would mean dealing with my own happiness. Now, if I'm at level 3, dealing with my own happiness, I no longer hold you, my wife, responsible for that. Now up to me, what is going to be different? Like, what thoughts are going to be there now that couldn't be there at level 1? So, Jeannie, let me pick on you just because I'm using you anyway, if you don't mind.
I don't mind.
If you do mind, just say so. Okay, thanks. And so, if I'm at level 3 where I see authentically, I am, by the way, digging down is an authentic practice. It's not I dig down and I pretend I'm going to be responsible and really I'm not. This is I'm really doing the work. Like, wow, it makes so much more sense to me that Jeannie makes me happy. It makes so much more sense to me that she acts and does the things that I like because that makes me happy. That makes so much sense in our culture. But now I'm at level 3 and I see I'm 100% responsible for my own happiness. What different thoughts and actions will I have now compared to level 1?
I think for me it's more choice to do those things or create those things that make me happy versus relying on something outside of myself or someone outside of myself.
That's right. And let's say instead of more choice, if you don't mind, choice.
Choice, yeah.
And
it the responsibility actually gives me empowers me to I don't know, to be differently, like if we were using this example, like with my husband, right, to be different with that person because there's no expectation or you're not laying something on them, right? Like you can be empowered. I know that.
Yeah, very good. Very good. So it provides choice. It provides empowerment. And one thing that I heard you say, it gives me an access to being.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you said being different, which is one access to being. But it gives me an access to being, period, because as a victim, I have no choice, I have no power, and I have no access to being. Because everything around me is telling me how to be, so therefore I don't have power. Does that communicate?
Yes, absolutely.
So in the simplest form, digging down is getting my power back. Or maybe it's better to say getting my power, period. Because for some people, if they were brought up in a victimizing environment, then this conversation could be brand new. And it's a matter of getting my power versus even getting it back. So now everybody, just take a look for a moment, if you will. Just take a look for a moment and notice some needs you have, things you need, things you want, and you can see that those needs are what we call surface needs. And just to keep the terminology from making you crazy, surface needs simply mean I'm not responsible. Now you'll notice, just because of all the work you've done, you might find it a little hard to think up. So it can be like, wow, I'm really responsible in a lot of areas. I can't think of anything that I say I need. But I want you to know that they are there. Why? Because you are a human being, and you're living in this reality along with all of us. and you and I have surface needs. And we don't always notice it because we're so transformed, if you will. But, you know, I can give you one for myself. I'm at the gym, and I need, so it's the person who's working out on the machine that I need you to step it up and get the hell out of my way. That's the Fast and Furious part. And and you know, this is an authentic share, because yesterday I am freaking like, I don't know. I like to do my workout in order. I don't like taking it out of order. And so in order for me to stay in order, I need this guy to get the hell out of my way, and I'm on a time schedule, so I can't just wait, right? And I did. I walked up. He's still doing his thing. I walked away. Got a little drink of water. I came back. He is still on that thing. And I noticed, this was in my head, I need you to speed up and get out of my way. And I realized, oh, okay, now that's a surface need. How do I dig down? How do I dig down to a level 3 where I get to a primary need? So what might be a primary need given that example? Anybody? Is there anything right there at the top of your mind?
This is Susan. You just need
Susan.
to finish your workout. You just need to be fit.
Yes, but if you dig down even further than that, because I do need to finish my workout, but he's in my way. You see, that's a level 2.
You want to stay fit.
Yeah. So one of the things for me is valuing and maintaining my physical health. That is my primary need. That is what I'm responsible for. So I'm in a gym where all of that's available. So there's a point of view in my way. What's the point of view in my way? Did anybody listen for it?
Yeah,
But you
I
have to
did.
do it in order.
Who said that? Jeannie?
Jeannie. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. My point of view is I have to do it in order. That point of view is a limiting belief. Now listen, you guys, this is authentically what happened, okay? So this is like really going on yesterday, and I'm really doing the work trying to dig down because I want to kick this guy's ass. He is in my way, and he's really taking too long. Like, no kidding. This is ridiculous. Somebody should give him a citation. This is not how you act in a gym. So it gave me something really tangible to work with, right? And once I saw my limiting beliefs, I had to giggle at myself at how that is the thing in the way of me fulfilling on my primary need. And so what I did was I moved on. I did it a different order. And what he was, it was actually the ab machine that he was on. And I went back to the ab machine later and did it last instead of first. No big freaking deal. I still fulfilled on my primary need. I was able to let go of judging and assessing this individual. So it allowed me to experience this moment right here, right now. Now, I know, Jeannie, I think you had something to say, and I spoke right over top of you, so let me give you the floor if, in fact, you did.
I did not.
You did not. Okay. Was there anybody who had
This is
something to say?
Susan. Yeah, it was Susan. Oh, I was just thinking another thing. If you were being 100% responsible, you might say, "Why don't I just find out when they open? Maybe it's like 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning, and go when there's nobody else there."
Yeah.
That doesn't happen.
Yeah, I know, but that's cool. It's true. There's another access, right? Anybody else?
Charlie?
Yeah, Charlie.
So I really see how that particular thought governs a lot of aspects of my life. Do things really need to be done a certain way?
Oh, got it. Yes. So it's a point of view.
Yeah. Or in a certain sequence.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. I love it. Thank you. Anybody else?
Thomas, this is
All right.
Jeannie.
Yeah, Jeannie.
You can even just see just the empowerment in that little teeny example. I mean, it's not a big deal, but just the fact that every time you go to the gym now, you have that choice that you didn't have.
I didn't have, and I've never had, Jeannie. I've never had that choice. I have always, now this is, thank you for bringing that up because it's a part that I'd forgotten. In all the years, now listen, I've been working out, it's so hard to believe, for 35 years. And for 35 years, I have always made people wrong who dilly-dallied, in my opinion, I call it dilly-dallying, and that's probably not even a fair statement, but doing anything other than what I think they should be doing in that moment so they could get the hell out of my way so I could do what I need to do. And as far as I was concerned, that was just the truth. Now, I would do whatever I needed to do to make it work for me. Don't misunderstand me. I didn't go around like moping and, having a tantrum. But yesterday was a breakthrough. And it all revolved around a very tiny, as you said, point of view that had I not been doing the work, because I really was, I was on the lookout for surface needs. I said, okay, to myself, I said, too many people didn't get digging down, and I want them to get it because there's something available that they won't get if I can't transfer this particular distinction in a way that it lands. And so, I got to have that breakthrough. And where else might there be more of that, which, by the way, I promise to be continually on the lookout for, because that is our game. That is our assignment. Be on the lookout for your surface needs. And how do you find them? Let me tell you how you find them. Now, I found mine by being in my own head about something, which is fine. There's no problem with that. But what I'm trying to train you guys in is look for them in your communications. Because, you see, they get exposed when you talk. That point of view of mine got exposed as I said words out loud. You with me? Like Jeannie noticed my point of view based on I'm telling the story, and I said, I really like to do things in order. And if you remember that conversation when I was having it, I didn't point that out like a big deal. I just said, I like things done in order, blah, blah, blah. And she caught that as a point of view, which got in the way of me getting to a primary need. Everybody with me?
Yeah.
All right, I hear somebody playing music in the background. I think it's really beautiful, but you're on a webinar right now, so put it away. Thanks. Okay, so now take a moment, everybody. Take a moment and just look in your mind's eye and see if there's any surface needs that you can see that you can share with us or that I can support you in digging down with.
This is Rasha.
Yeah, Rasha.
One that I see is at work, and there's not enough time, so I never get people. I get interrupted constantly, so I never have enough time.
Think about that. Like, so you have an hour to.
Okay, somebody's whispering, and you think we can't hear you, but we can. So anybody who's talking to somebody else in this moment, mute your phone. Thank you. Okay, so Rasha, you said not enough time, and you said interrupted a lot at work, which interferes with time, yes?
And I think, so I'm just going to ramble a little bit, okay, Thomas?
Go ahead.
You can kind of rein it in. But so how it shows up is this anxiety, and I really got present to it during the meditation. So I go back to that scramble everywhere. It's scrambling in my personal life, right? Like when I come home, and I'm always multitasking, doing two things at the same time, and I'm beginning to feel and experience I'm not fully there at any one time doing any one thing, if that makes any sense.
Sure. So the word you normally use, I just want to put it out there, is scattered. Is that what you're experiencing?
Yeah.
Okay, good. So if you were looking at a need, just a surface need, okay? I'm not interested in you digging down. I want you to give me the surface need so we can demonstrate digging down if you're able. What would be a surface need that you can hear in your story? Now, I'm going to give your story back to you so you can hear it from the outside versus from the inside, okay? And everybody on the call, your job is to listen for points of view and surface needs. That's your job right now, okay? So whatever else you might be doing, because I know we're all multitaskers, I want you to bring yourself back, please. Thank you. So what Rasha said was at work she finds that, so I'm going to talk to you, Rasha. So Rasha, what you said is at work you find you don't have enough time. In fact, people are constantly interrupting you, which interferes with any time that you might have. One of the things you notice in the meditation is you have an underlying anxiety that you kind of think might stem from that because you leave work and you have the experience of being scattered. And you can't, you're multitasking, you're trying to get everything done, and you don't have the experience of getting things done. Did I recreate you?
Yes.
Is there anything you want to add or correct?
No.
Okay, very good. So somebody on the call, is there any need, surface need, or any point of view that you might have heard in that interaction that you could point out? Just say your first name, and I'll call on you.
This is Jenny.
That not be interrupted.
Was that Jenny?
No, Susan.
No, Susan, I heard you, but somebody said their name before you started talking. Who was that?
It was Jeannie.
Jeannie, okay. So Jeannie and then Susan.
I was going to say exactly what Susan said, so yeah, about being interrupted, needing people not to interrupt her.
Okay, so Susan, is that what you said? Need people to not interrupt her, need not be interrupted?
Need people not to interrupt her, yes.
Yes, okay, very good. So that is a surface need for sure. Very good. Any other surface needs that anybody heard?
Jean.
Yeah, Jean.
Need more time.
Need more time. Boy, that is a surface need, isn't it? And that's an interesting one because, Jean, let's take a look at that together. Need more time. Who does that as a surface need? Who does that rely on as a responsibility?
Me, the person.
Well, see, if it's your responsibility, then you've dug it down to a primary need, which is okay. That's okay. But just notice in this context, that's not where it is yet because we're talking about Rasha's scenario. And need more time is definitely a need, definitely there. But who does it rely on, like making responsible for that more time?
Well, people at work.
Yeah, those who interrupt.
Yeah.
That's one possible way to look at it. Another possible way to look at it is I need more time, and maybe the universe is supposed to give me that.
Exactly.
True.
That's the one for
Susan.
me.
Another Susan.
Yeah, Susan Buki?
Yeah. Another need might be you need your supervisor to give you less work.
A lighter workload. Got it. Very good. Okay.
Susie,
Excellent. Yeah, Susie.
need more space.
More space.
Okay.
Okay, very good. So I'm going to go back. I'm going to go back to Russia. And Russia, I'm going to give you this list of surface needs that we heard and see which one is the loudest for you, okay? So we heard one surface need is that you need not to be interrupted. Number 2, you need more time. Number 3, you need a lighter workload. And number 4, you need more, I'm going to add this, private space.
Can I pick 2 or only 1?
No, you can pick 2, absolutely.
So I need, need more private space, and to me that'll cover not being interrupted. So need more time and need more private space are my top 2.
That is so interesting. Okay. I mean, I would have, for me, the top one was need not to be interrupted. So I'm really glad that we let you choose, because otherwise it would have gone the wrong way. Okay, so everybody, the surface needs that she relates to is need more time and need more space, more private space. All right, so now, before we move into digging down any further, did anybody hear any points of view like that might be like a limited belief, some point of view that might be in the way of her digging down? Did anybody hear anything in the communication?
Susie.
Go ahead. Yeah, Susie.
She can't have herself fully. Her itself is spread out.
Mm-hmm. She's scattered.
Oh.
Very good. Anybody else?
Jean.
Yeah, Jean.
That getting interrupted means she doesn't get things done.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Anybody else? Okay, that's excellent. Okay. Oh, somebody was going to say something? All right, then I'm back to Russia. Okay, so Russia, in the world of needing more time, I want to give you the opportunity to dig down. And what we're going to do, and this is for everybody, we're digging down through the 3 levels. Only, now listen, we're only doing this for the practicality of giving you the distinction. Do you understand? So you know how you're funneling. I don't want you stuck in this methodology like you have to go level to level. The ultimate goal is you get to level 3, right? That's the ultimate goal. However you get there is fine with me. But I want to go through each of the levels with you, because typically what I have found is people go through these 3 levels. It's rare that you go straight from level 1 to level 3. Does that communicate?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. I didn't hear enough yeses. Maybe I have some people muted. All right. So, Rasha, let's take a look at I need more time. And I want you to dig it down to level 2.
All right, so level 1 would be people interrupt me and I don't have enough time.
Yeah, so level 1 would be I need people not to interrupt me.
All right. I need people to not interrupt me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Someone else is responsible. Yeah. So level 2 would be others and I are responsible. So when I get interrupted, I can't get things done.
Mm-hmm.
Or getting interrupted means I can't get things done. Something like that?
Well,
or can you refine it?
I'm going to try to dig it down just a little more. Does anybody else see something before I add my 2 cents for level 2?
Yes, Susie.
Yeah, Susie.
If I'm reading this right, level 2 could be like, I'm responsible and you're responsible. So she could ask, could we get together later? I have things to do.
Okay, good. So you're kind of in the same thinking I was. Level 2 would be, okay, you're interrupting me and that steals my time. I'm going to stop the interruptions.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was at.
Yeah. So stop the interruptions, in my opinion, would be level 2.
Mm-hmm.
All right, good. Are we okay, Rasha? Is that in line
Yes.
with you for now? Okay. And of course, everybody listen. And now I'm talking to Rasha, but I want you to listen because I'm talking to Rasha as my communication partner. Rasha, it's your life. So therefore, you have to align on what we see. I'm only trying to dig with you so you can see what you ordinarily wouldn't. Everybody get that? So when you're working with somebody else, the only reason you're working with another person is because they can see things you can't see. Why? Because they're not stuck in the boundaries and points of view of your own mind. They're stuck in their own. But you want to be open to hearing some of theirs. See, that's the whole benefit. So here's what we have so far, Rasha. Level 1, people interrupt me, therefore I can't get things done. Level 2, I could stop the interruptions and maybe then I'd have a little more time. And what would be level 3?
David. Maybe I'm responsible for sending the opportunity for people to interrupt me. Or maybe even going further. Maybe I'm actually welcoming the interruption so I don't have to do those chores.
Very good. I got that. That's good. So I'm looking at the short list of possible primary needs. And let's see. Do you have one already in your mind, Rasha?
I'm looking at 2.
Okay. What are you looking at?
So the one that I'm looking at is balancing my daily and long-term work, play, and rest. Currently and over time. So this interaction has been really great because I realize there's something I'm making wrong, which is a point of view, right? 2 things. One thing I'm making wrong is the interruption. The other thing is there should never be a ball that falls. Well, of course they're going to fall. And I get to choose. Now this allows me and gives me permission to let a ball fall and be okay with it. It's not going to happen. Versus it all has to keep on going. So that's one
really
point
good.
Of view. That's one point of view that gives me power. And then the other one is recognizing, accepting, and adapting to my limitations.
Yeah, that's the one I was looking at too. Recognizing, accepting, and adapting to my limitations. Yeah.
And that one gives me power around the experience of being scattered. So for those of you who are on the call, I have a story called I'm Scattered or a Racket, for those who've done Landmark. And so that one gives me power because it gives me a different way of looking at it. Okay, so you're scattered.
Now what?
Now what,
Yeah,
So it gets me
very
to
good.
Yeah.
Very, very good. I like it. And one of the things that David said that I like, I'm going to twist it around just a little bit, but in being 100% responsible for the amount of time that I have would be to create opportunities for interruptions.
Yes.
So there is a natural resistance to interruptions. Oh man, the reason I paused for a second was because I just got a little bit of my own world, But so there's this. But if you created opportunities for interruptions, then you are completely responsible for your time. I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know if it's possible in your job, but hopefully it gives you something that you can look at that you wouldn't have otherwise.
Yeah, is it okay? Do you have time for me to ramble a little bit?
I do. I want you to debrief.
This is really helpful to me.
Yeah.
In my job, people are my access. This is something I just got in what David said. So them interrupting me over time allows me to groom them to take on the work. See, I'm stuck with the limitation of time, right? Like, I got to get it done, versus if I welcome the interruption, I can train others to get it done.
Yes.
So that's one thing I see. And then the interruption can actually slow me down. So it brought me back to the exercise we did earlier.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe the interruption becomes the trigger for me to slow down versus my fast and furious focus during the day.
Sure.
So
sure.
Just toying with that.
Very, very good. Love it. Love it. Thank you, Rasha. Thanks for doing the interaction. Thanks for the practice. So did you guys get value out of the two examples? The example I shared, of course, of my own, and then the actual interaction that Rasha and I did. Did that provide something for you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. And is there anything that anybody would like to say regarding digging down or have some work done with me before we move on?
Jean.
Yes, Jean.
I guess what comes up for me is that I just have to practice, because this whole exercise practice that we did with Rasha's example, it took an amount of time that it took. It took a variety of people throwing in ideas. So I think that it's a practice, and maybe having the list of things with me, or slowing down enough to pay attention to practice, to be aware. It just occurs to me like, wow, this is a lot.
Thank you. Well, thanks for telling me that. So let me narrow down the real practice. The real practice is looking for your surface needs. That's the real practice, everybody. That's the thing to do. Look for those needs that you hold something outside of yourself responsible for. You with me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And if you'll do that and only that, I promise by our next class, because our next get-together in January will be face-to-face, except for those of you who are on webinar only, and if you come with surface needs, you and I can work together in front of the room on those surface needs, at least one of them. And this is for everybody. Come with some surface needs, and I promise you, as it funnels down, it will be easier because it's yours. Rasha, did it occur easier for you this time now that we dealt with something of yours?
It did, and what I think the area that took me the most to actually think through was level 2. I mean, I realize now that surface needs are on the top. I just haven't called them that. And
right.
Digging down is just being a little bit more aware of, in my heart of hearts, what do I really want or what do I really need? And not to get stuck on the list, right? The list is helpful, but I don't have to be stuck on the list.
Right. Very, very good. Okay. And then also what happens as you look for those surface needs, naturally you will see limiting points of view. And Jean, I use my communication with other people to expose them to myself. But it's not the only way. You can look for them just like I did at the gym. But is that something you'll be able to do on your own? Look for surface needs and points of view?
Yeah, I believe so.
That'll be the practice. Everything else, just let it happen naturally and see what happens. But if I can count on you just to look for those surface needs, then the rest of it will fall into place. Promise.
Okay.
Are we good for the moment?
Yeah, thanks.
You don't sound like it. I know you too well. Okay, that's okay. That's okay, because one thing I do know about you is I can count on you to at least do the practice, and then just call me and we'll work through it a little bit more, okay?
Okay.
Anybody else, anything related to digging down?
Jeannie.
Yeah, Jeannie.
For me, what comes up is that I go to the third level so quickly, I have a hard time actually going back up.
That's okay.
See my surface need and then be able to like really dig down, like versus just kind of skipping to the third place, you know?
Yeah, but if you have already dug down, then I'm not interested in you digging back up. What I'm interested in you doing is finding surface needs now that you haven't dug down.
Okay.
Because they do exist.
I agree. Finding them.
Yeah. Now,
okay.
And here's the other thing, Jeannie. If you get to the surface need and you're able to dig down immediately on your own, God bless you, do it. Get on down to level 3. Because ultimately that's what you want. The share is nice. You know, if you can see it enough that you can share it, that's nice and it's helpful for everybody else. But ultimately, if you're doing the work and it becomes natural for you and habitual, then I'm happy. Happy. Okay?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Very good. Does everybody have your parts listed on paper?
No.
No.
Okay, very good. I want you to list your parts for our next class. List your parts and identify any that are disowned. Don't worry. It'll happen relatively naturally. The disowned and hated parts start showing up. But they only show up if you are listening for parts and speaking in parts. All right, so what does it look like to listen in parts? Okay,
Jean.
Listening in parts. Too late, Jean.
That's fine. Please
But
go. Go.
Thank you for stepping up. Yeah, listening in parts looks like this. I'm out and about, people are talking, and I notice somebody says, well, part of me, ... Or, oh no, a part of me wants to eat the whole thing, but another part of me is like, no way. I want you to listen for parts. Listen in other people's language. Listen when you read a book or when you go to a movie or watch a movie. Listen to people speaking parts. Has anybody noticed it at all?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, I want you to listen to that, and then I want you to practice speaking parts. A part of me, blah, 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 while another part of me. Very important in order to get the real value out of the parts distinction. Because we're coming to a place where the parts are going to start to harmonize naturally. And as they harmonize, you and I are going to move into really being with who are you really? You're not your body. You have one, but it's not who you are. You're not your thoughts. You have thoughts, lots of them, but it's not who you are. You're not your emotions. You have feelings, you have emotions, but it's not who you are. And there are circumstances. You're not your circumstances. Yes, we're immersed in them, but it's not who you are. Yet, humanity lives like who we are all of these. and the realization of who we really are, unlimited consciousness, awareness, pure consciousness, the field of potentiality. The realization is quite liberating. And as we continue our work together in all the various practices, you will know yourself to be limitless, much bigger than containing a body, having thoughts, having emotions, having circumstances, but you will be much bigger than all of them. We're going to move beyond your limited beliefs and assumptions about reality, and as you become more and more awake, your thoughts will become irrelevant, just passing in the mind, as though our thoughts are a television program in a foreign language in another room. It can still be heard, but it will no longer be dominating your awareness. And then you'll have more true self-leadership. And true self-leadership is expressed with the 7 C's. Calmness, curiosity, connectedness, confidence, creativity, courage, clarity. So your assignment between this webinar and our next class, or this class and our next class, is number 1, be parts conscious. Listen to people speaking in parts, notice your thinking, and bring parts to it. As you're in communication with others, notice points of view that they disclose but may not be aware. In those same communications, allow yourself to hear your own points of view getting expressed. Practice digging down. And I'm going to change that practice digging down to practice identifying surface needs. Is that easier?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Very, very good. All right, you guys, it was a very, very good class. Thank you very much for your participation. I want to open the line for any last-minute close the conversation sharing that you might have. So who'd like to share to be complete?
Andrea.
Andrea, darling.
I appreciate the clarification on digging down. I didn't do that part of the homework, and so and it wasn't that I didn't understand. I didn't connect with it again. So
sure,
I appreciate that, and so I look forward to digging down. Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, Andrea. Appreciate it. Anybody else?
This is Joe.
Yeah, Joe, go ahead.
Well, it was a little bit of an anecdote, if I may. Not necessarily clarification, something I saw actually yesterday evening.
Yeah.
This week has been really, with the season and all, and I'm attempting to close out a project, so I haven't been in the practices. And, I've been wanting to get into the slow down practice. And, I'm in a rush to get to the bank. And I get there a couple minutes before they're closing. I'm kind of jogging through the parking lot. And there's this 4-year-old little boy that I go running past. And I hear him say, "Slow down."
Oh, isn't that great?
So what actually happened, him and his grandpa came into the bank, and his grandpa was having a kind of a heated discussion with the teller. But I was just kind of being with this little boy. He really reminded me of myself. He didn't need any attention. He was just wandering around, looking at things and taking in his universe. It was really interesting.
That's awesome, my brother. That's great. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. That's just the best.
It really got me, too, in that moment, slowing down.
Yeah, I can get it. It would me, too. It would anybody, right? That's brilliant. Just brilliant. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, sure.
Anybody else to complete the call?
Jean.
Yes, Jean.
I just want to thank everyone. I'm so grateful for everything that everyone shares, and Thomas for this work, and you all rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really great. Thank you, Gene. That's awesome. Okay, everybody. Happy holidays. Really, I don't know. There's some of you I'll see tomorrow, and I'm excited about that. Others of you I will not see. I trust that I did extend an invitation to everyone. I hope that I did. It was an accident if I didn't. So if you didn't get an invitation, let me know. But have a wonderful holiday season. I love you, appreciate you, honor you, respect you, and I look forward to seeing you next year. Okay?
Thank you, Thomas.
Thanks, Thomas.
Thank you, everyone.
Love you too.
To everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.